War of the Worlds. The Martians, the first book is written in the 1890s, and it was in the 1890s that scientists observed explosion on Mars, and they invited people to come look at the explosion. And it was during that time that they realized that the Martians were planning their invasion of Earth because their home planet of Mars, they used up all the resources. And I've been listening to a lot of this different books written on the Wikipedia. You can highlight it and push speak. But in some different books that refer to the Martians, one book reads as if what we read last night on the FBI reports of, all the sightings that happened all of a sudden in 1947 all over the place. But the Martians, they come to Earth in cylinder pods, and hundreds and thousands, and they come in waves. And their skin is a dark brown, oily skin when they emerge from these cylinder pods, and they can't breathe the atmosphere here in the book. So they have to get back in their pods. I know there's been many documentations that we've made of these cylindrical shaped pods coming down from the sky, going straight down into the earth, because that's where they have to live. They can't stand the light. Go down into the earth. It's been documented in France on that Brest Hotel in Brest, France, in that area. It's been documented at the observatories in Hawaii. It's been documented in a lot of places, cylindrical shaped pods. I'm thinking, isn't that interesting? We see these pods coming down, and the pods are mentioned in the H.G. Wells and also in another book written about the Martians. And they don't kill their victims right away. They do have, in these books, they have these great big metal cages, and they have these great big round cephalopods or whatever with great big mechanical extensions. You remember the salt mine in Romania? How we was watching it look like the Hydra, and the extensions looked like a big old arm extending way out from the upper level, wiggling its way to the electricity or something in that salt mine. And remember that? Well, these pods, they are like that type of they were built, big long tentacle-like things. But they don't kill their victims right away. They need their blood to survive, you all. They need the blood. They suck the blood out of the humans. Transfusions is what the Martians need. In the H.G. Wells War of the Worlds, and there's been a lot of other books that have expanded on the Martians. And there's a military hierarchy in their society. It's ruled by that type of a hierarchy. So, remember that coded message that we read last night on the FBI files? And it talked about the Martians. It was a coded message. If you missed that, it was the last live video I did last night. When we was reading all these sightings of UFOs, there's you all know there's probably millions of sightings from all over the world, and it described flying saucers, flying discs. It described golden cylinders, cylindrical shapes, orange cylindrical shapes. And these things have the capacity to, some I think went up to 3,600 miles an hour. They at lightning speed, and some of these things that were sighted, they were luminous, and they could be in front of you and zip away just like that. Their technology is so far advanced, even in the War of the Worlds. Their technology is, they have the heat rays and all other types of weapons. They can literally incinerate you. You know what I'm thinking? I'm thinking that that's not all make believe. I really am starting to believe that. It's not all make believe, you all. We go and we have blood centers all over the place. We do. And the Martians, they need blood transfusions. But in this battle that occurred in another like book, old novel, in Sussex, England, or something, they had to flee. The England was under attack by the Martians, is what happened, and the people were fleeing. There were no match, trying to get away from these big machines gathering the humans, because they need their blood in order to survive. And as they were, you know, leaving, this one guy who was going mad with all the trauma that he had faced with all these Martians and stuff. They didn't care about the humans. They're unemotional and all that. You couldn't make peace with them. Like when the one pod, a cylindrical thing, landed in a crater, made a crater. This person walked up to it and is waving a white flag. The two occupants got out. They were massive, looked like giant bears. That's how the structure was, but they didn't look like a bear, but they were that big with that dark brown oily skin. And these things, they just fired their weapons and they just got rid of anybody that was near them, but they couldn't breathe the atmosphere. They couldn't, so they left. But it went on to say that when the guy was like about ready to be done with it, he had noticed that the Martians in that area had been defeated. And guess what defeated them? It was bacteria or a virus. Um, that's what did it, because they couldn't handle it. And other things I listened to this morning, I want to listen to a lot more. Their technology is so advanced in the different times, the different waves that they come in Earth. Sometimes I think that Geminid meteor shower, I wish I would have known this. I would have filmed the Subaru telescope in Hawaii that night the Geminid meteor shower came down, because it sounds like, to me, if they were coming, I bet you, you all, if you were to slow down, if anybody had footage of that Geminid shower, if you were to slow down that video footage from the Subaru telescopes and what they say, the shower, frame by frame, as slow as you can get it, enlarge it, you would see pods, cylindrical shaped pods. And they're all the same size. No meteor is going to be all the same size. Cylindrical shaped pods. What if when these showers happen, these so-called showers, it's these pods coming from wherever they're located, going straight down into the earth, because they have a pod that travels with them too for food and stuff. It's their whatever, you all. And there's only like 2 occupants that get on those pods. Yeah, if you go look at the observatory playlist, I've got one. Sometimes you'll see on some of them the pods. I mean, they're not this big, but they are cylindrical shape. And these Martians, before I came on here, I was listening to one part on here, and this description of a long chapter of some other book. They, it's either, there's like this greenish glow that is around when they're around. We got the northern lights, you all. We do. It's greenish. Like the aurora borealis. It's got a greenish glow to it. Now you may say, Gina, you are way off your rocker. No, no. They need blood. We know we have blood donation centers. We know we do, all over the place. Why? And why are people buried only like 6 feet above the ground, under the ground? Why? These Martians have to go underground because they can't do our atmosphere. They can't. There was something else that they noticed that was described. This, whatever book it was I was listening to, part of it, they described one of the things they use on their ships or whatever. It It is like a very black poisonous gas that they use as a weapon, and it is fired in the air super, super black. And it's like not good for our atmosphere at all. We've been seeing these long, stringy black things all in the skies. If you're on an airplane and if you're flying up high, I did when I went to Cancun, stretched all the way across. And even if you go look at the telescopes in Hawaii, even the time lapse. If you slow down the time lapse of some of them, especially the north facing camera, even though they have not updated their observatories since the 7th of December on any of their cameras, why is there almost an entire week of footage not available to any of the cameras at the Canada, France, Hawaii telescope? Why? Why did they stop it all of a sudden? I don't think it's Christmas break. I don't think it's the volcano going off. They stopped all the footage coming out of there, every single last bit of it. And the only footage you will get is the Subaru telescope. Why? Ask yourself, why did you stop that footage from coming out? Is it because too much traffic was flowing into there, you all? You ain't going to find an updated view unless they did it overnight. I've been looking every day. They have not updated the footage. But this black stuff they use, it's poisonous. And remember the stuff like at the base of the volcanoes, that stuff coming out of the clouds, they're coming out of the clouds. They were literally rising up out of the clouds. All this black, it's quite fascinating, you all. I don't know what it is, but it reminds me of some type of a life form, some type of a species. It's not nothing that I've made or you've made or any human being has made. There's something going on. There is. And if the Martians, now this, I do not think that is a all fictional. I do not, with the pods. And maybe the reptilians is the name, because in later versions of the Martians, in the books and stuff that were written, in some of the later versions when they're describing, they have like a greenish skin, and some of them have adapted and they have like turned into some other type, like maybe a reptilian and stuff, but they came from Mars, you all. These species and these like bipedal things with 8 legs and stuff, you all. That right there, with their like a V-shaped mouth, like that right there too. The original stuff like that. They're very super intelligent, even though they don't look like humans. Extremely intelligent, and they don't talk. It's telepathy, is what it is. They are a collective, according to that. Yeah, like a mantis or something. If you go to Wikipedia and you look up War of the Worlds, you'll see, it was updated a few days ago, but if you just go read down through every single section they got, the plot and all this other stuff, they reference other types of material that relates to these Martians. And the book was written originally back in the 1890s about it. And there was an invasion in England, big time. And people were fleeing, and these Martians want to take over the Earth. But let me get back to my video of the FBI last night, the FBI files and UFOs, you all. It appeared on my computer all of a sudden when I ended my one video about NASA has an intruder in the sky. It appeared, and it was UFO documentation, and we only did not even 1% of the documentation of UFOs reported all around the world in different types by people from different walks of life. Something's going on, okay? It is. It's not make-believe. And I would never want to see a war of the worlds. In some books, they describe their leader as a very monstrous, hideous being sitting on a throne around 15 foot high and stuff. I know they make things up, but some refer to them as the beast. Things like that. I don't know in what books those were, but I was hearing some of that this morning too. It's if there ever was, if you start seeing stuff like that, and people want to say it's fake, no, it's not fake. They're here. Those pods, those cylindrical shaped pods, they have been documented on the live webcams coming down out of the sky in Hawaii, in well, you see that? You hear that? They've been documented, you all. This is not make believe. None of it is. Um, Mary, I, I kind of thought about that, about all this stuff that's going on. I really did, just ever so vaguely. If bacteria killed them, they said they were predicting. There, I didn't even get to the predicting parts. The predicting parts of this, that in the future, since they're so intelligent, they would probably be able to somehow yeah. So I don't think it's all make believe. H.G. Wells and England. You know what I thought about doing? I thought about seeing if anywhere in the history of England was there a mass exodus of people. That's what I thought, like in the 1800s or something, or before, mass exodus of people who left England because of some type of a war. That's what I, oh wow. Is it still screeching? Is it still screeching, you all? Okay, okay. So there was something out there, is what it was. Okay, Susan B. Honey. Yeah, so there's something going on. And remember in the FBI reports, the documentation they were doing, eyewitnesses? In one of them, I don't know which video it was, if it was the, my lips are dry. If it was the very first live stream I did on the FBI things where it got cut, where they were saying they needed to know what to do as soon as possible. The military was saying this because the people are going to get very scared. This is way back in 1940 something. The people will panic and it will cause chaos. They needed to know what they needed to do, the military, because they just started that. Obviously, you have not heard. That's why there ain't been no disclosure. They don't know how to go about it, you all. They have no idea how to go about it. Because truly, if you think about it, if there is a race of being like that who has the ability to change species, they take over your bodies too, it said. And I wanted to read all of it, listen to it all, but my husband came in the room and he interrupted my train of thought, so I couldn't even focus. So he trying to keep redoing that. Yeah. Go back on my video when you're done and listen to the screeching. Wow. So thank you for saying the word screeching in this book. When the Martians, when they took over the people's bodies, and when they got whatever they got from them, when they do something with their flesh or something. They do something with their being on the inside of humans. When they finish doing that, there is a call. You know what they're saying? There is a sound, a hum that can be heard when these Martians in this book says Hulu, Hulu. That sounds like the call of Cthulhu. That's what I heard this morning when I was listening to it. That is the sound that is heard after these Martians with their V-shaped mouth and stuff attack humans and stuff. That is the hum that is heard, and they said what it sounded like. Hulu. That's right. Um, I'm going to try to, somehow I clicked into another link on that. Yes, that's right. John Phillip, that's what they said. And we've been talking about Cthulhu. And there's video games, the Call of Cthulhu, the How to Raise Cthulhu, and stuff like this. And if the original, is it Susan Honey? If was I still having the pitching? Um, yeah. Why do I want to go outside? Yeah. Oh, okay, when I'm outside. Can you all hear me now? That's when it started. Altars and relations. I was listening to, I had somehow clicked into the Wikipedia. And I was listening to certain sections of it because you can highlight it with your phone and it will speak it. But you know what I thought I could do? I could highlight it with my cell phone, highlight those areas. I don't think I have a computer program that can speak that. I might, but I might not, that could speak it. But it was certain, somehow I was started off with the original War of the World, and somehow I was, when I clicked out of it, I came back to a link that had more in relation to the Martians, but it wasn't what I was hearing at first. It was more information that was added to it. Good morning, you all. So the Martians come down in cylindrical shaped pods, and they have dark brown, oily skin. And remember we saw something, or we did a video where they found these aliens or something, and they were describing their skin had turned, it was a smell to them, a toxic smell. Their skin had turned dark brown or dark black and oily. And they feel that they suffocated in our atmosphere. That was called the Martians, according to the War of the Worlds, or one of the other books that was like that. They're from Mars, and Elon Musk wants to go to Mars and build on Mars. He does. And in one of these books, these Martians, they wanted to go back to Mars also, to their home planet, is what they wanted. Yeah. They come down in their pods, and when they invaded England, it caused a great exodus of people in England. And I want to know if there's anything in history where there was an exodus of people during a wartime event that was never documented, that was probably covered up because the aliens, these Martians, came. And then they ended up getting defeated by a virus or bacteria. Their systems couldn't handle it. And they had those big cephalopod, those big old mechanical things that had great big extensions on them, just like we saw in Romania in the salt mines. The Martians went underground because they can't stand our atmosphere. And green light is associated with the Martians. And then we have the aurora borealis, um, and stuff like that. Yeah. So, yeah, there was something about storms too. And this one, this guy was telling about it from England. When he and his wife were trying to escape or something, there was a great big storm that came. They were in their buggy, their horse and buggy. A great big storm appeared in the sky. They can create storms. And it came through and just knocked over their wagon or something, and they were fleeing on foot. Somehow they got separated, and he was trying to find his wife again. Um, so I know there's so many theories out there as to what's going on. All kinds of theories concerning UFOs and stuff. But really, why would the War of the Worlds, 1898, when it was first written, way back then, and talk about Martians, how the first wave landed back in the 1890s because they used up all their resources on their planet and they wanted to come to Earth. And Earth has resources and Earth has humans, and they need the humans for their blood. They do. And we bury humans 6 feet under. I guess if they're underground, they got easy access to them. And I know that sounds far-fetched, but I've been thinking about that. They can't survive without transfusions, these Martians. And over time, they were short. They were like, I don't know, no head or nothing. They just had these great big legs, like spider-like entities. And then they got a little bit bigger and kind of got to where they could overtake the human's body, take over human's body. And they're soulless. And it was really interesting. Goddard, this scientist, Goddard, Goddard Space Center, after reading the War of the Worlds books, the War of the Worlds book, they said it's never went out of style. It has been thought of about creation, the theory, creationism, and all of this kind of stuff. They have used that book for all types of information, but Goddard, 71 years later, invented the jet fuel because of that book. I guess the information that was contained in that, and I guess other books that were written too, it's inspired a lot of people. Yeah. So there's something going on. These pods, now it makes sense. If you're calling them reptilians, well, that was another upgrade they did to their body where they had like the greenish-like skin and around 6 foot something. And they used to have these big bulging eyes, but now they've got it kind of put down. Yeah. Yeah, and there's, yeah, they say, and some of them talk about species being from another area too. There's been all kinds of movies, all kinds of books, all kinds of games written about these Martians, or sometimes they've changed their names too. But this is something's going on. There's something with these pods, and those pods that come down. I could see where it'd have like 1 or 2 beings in it, and they send the pods. They say somehow they send the pods down from their home planet too, up there, and they make their way. So what if that Geminid shower? How come it happens at a specific date all the time? How come? If anybody's got footage of that observatory on that day of the Geminid shower this past week, I would slow it down as slow as possible. Zoom up on what appears to be a streak across the sky, a green streak, because that is evidence of them green. The green is associated with them, and the very dark, dark black smoke-like stuff coming out of their things. It's kind of toxic, poisonous. Yeah. And they describe the Martians as a beast and some kind of, yeah. So I just wanted to get on here. I wasn't going to get on here because I've really got some stuff I want to get done, but I was thinking about that book. And I was listening to some of the audio. If you got a cell phone, and if your phone has the ability to highlight stuff, and then you can expand it. And if you hold your finger on it, it'll have the option, can you translate, can you copy, can you paste? You just arrow over and it'll say speak. And you can listen to it speak, all the highlighted area. It's pretty cool. You can do it. So I am going to go, you all. I stumbled upon FBI Vault, and the subject matter was UFOs. It appeared second in my, right as soon as I logged off the YouTube, and I just went to the regular page, not a YouTube page, but the regular internet. It was the second on that page, and I thought, how on earth did the FBI UFO search get on this thing? And I haven't even been talking about the FBI UFO. So I clicked immediately back on the internet. And the first video, it lasted 19 minutes, and then that was ended. So then I got right back on, and I screenshotted the paper of a description of them looking for the UFOs. The documentation, you all, that's pretty cool. And there was a coded message that they wanted to, in 1947, or 48 was written, the Martians wanted to create a world order. They did. They wanted to do. So I'm going to go, you all. Now my nose is itching. I don't like my nose itching, but they did. So I'm going to go. And with that being said, I've done so many videos this week. And if you're just on here, Gina, I haven't been getting notifications. Have you done any videos? 99% of the videos I've done this week are live videos. That's the bulk that I do. You'll have to go to the live video tab and you can see all the videos. You'll see a lot. Sorry. So with that being said, hello, wherever you are in any part of the world. Hello. From my heart to yours, love you. Have a wonderful rest of your afternoon, your morning. You all, love you. Thank you. There's something to the war of the worlds. And if you listen to any of the sightings that were documented by the FBI in that last video last night, oh, they were continuous from all over the country, from all over the world, in different types of ships. And they thought, well, could it be an enemy with advanced technology like the Soviet Union or something? No, they all denied it. It was probably something, it's something much greater than that. Love you.